This prison story is about when I heard my next door cellmate get his manhood taken. Now, for the record, y'all, a lot of people be asking me in the comment section, like, yo, Dante, why you always telling, these type of stories? Well, unfortunately, this is what the algorithm, aka the audience, want to listen to. Now, I got plenty other stories that's on my channel that's not talking about this, this type of topic, but for some reason, YouTube only like to push these type of stories. You can go on any other prison genre channel and go to their popular videos, and you will see that Prison Grape is the video that they pushing. They got the highest views. So me being a content creator, I have to give the audience what they want. Now, if you don't want to listen to the story and you tired of me telling these type of stories, then by all means, you can go somewhere else. Until then, stop complaining. And you better make dang sure you hit the like button. All right? So anyway, and one more thing. For you cats out there that we talking about, oh, Dante, you always making these type of videos. Well, guess what? You don't have to click on it and you don't have to watch it. Right? So anyway, let's get to the story. So when you first get locked up, they put you in like a unit where you lock down 23 and 1, basically. They call it it's a reception center, but you basically, they trying to classify you. They trying to see what type of inmate you are. So you're gonna be in your cell for 23 hours and get out for 1 hour. But sometimes you in there for 24 hours. Sometimes they don't even let you out. But anyway, at these times, you don't have no cellmate. You in a single cell, and this your adjustment period. So it's very, very, very rare that you will have a cellmate. Now, the only time you will get a cellmate if the prison is overcrowded and they just have to put somebody in there with you, right? One thing about prison is that they'll put somebody in there that done took somebody's life, right? And they'll put somebody in there with that guy that may be in there for excessive, maybe traffic tickets or child support or a non-violent crime, scamming or something like that. They'll put different caliber dudes in the same cell, right? Which I don't think is right, but it's prison. And this is where these assaults take place at. When they misclassify these dudes or they just don't give a dang, right? So anyway, I'm in this unit called Unit B, right? And in Unit B, you got 2 tiers, right? Let me describe the layout for y'all. When you go up in this unit, right, you go in, boom, there's 4 tables dead smack in the middle. And right on the other side of the tables, maybe 4-5 feet away from the tables, is the cells, right? You got 5 cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you got a stairway that go up, and then you go up, then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 cells, and they're supposed to be only 10 guys, but they got 20 of us up here because it's overcrowded. So nevertheless, Dante is upstairs on the second tier, and my cell is all the way to the left in the corner. Now, I have a cellie, and this dude name was George, and George was from Kalamazoo. He was a cool dude. He was in there for armed robbery, and There ain't really too much to say about him. He was quiet. He kept to himself, and there ain't really nothing to say about him. But there was a white guy next door to me, and you could tell that this dude was, a drug addict or whatever. You can tell that, he, for the better part of his life, he been on that powder or that hard or whatever, right? Y'all know the type or whatever. But anyway, he was in the cell by himself, right? And then, they put this dude named Cal in there. Now, Cal was this older black dude, right? Older black dude. And when I first seen him when he came in, because remember, y'all, we on 23-1, so we locked down. So every time them doors pop and somebody come in, everybody is up on their door looking to see who's coming in, right? So when he come in, I just had this bad feeling about this dude, right? You can just tell, like some dudes just have this type of aura about them, and his, unfortunately, was really negative, right? And they put him right next door to me. So he in there with the drug addict white dude or whatever. So the next day, because ain't nothing eventful happened, but the next day they let us all out on the yard, right? And we all everybody figuring out where everybody from, and we all just having conversations. It's like 50 of us out here, and it's me and a couple guys over here. There's a couple guys over there. There's a couple guys over there. There's dudes over there walking the track or whatnot. So we over there talking, and this dude named Jimmy, he was like, "Hey, y'all know that's Felix, right?" And I'm like, who is Felix? What's a Felix? And dude was like, he a bandit. I was like, a bandit? He was like, yeah, he like dudes, and yeah, he a butt bandit. And I said, come again? He was like, yeah, that dude is notorious in the MDOC prison system. That's Felix the Cat. I said, Felix the Cat? I said, what's up with him? He said, man, dude, they say he been down for about 40 years, and, he like young black dudes and young white boys. I said, homeboy is next door to me. He like, next door to you in a different unit? I said, no, that dude is in the cell right next door to me, and he in there with this white dude. And he was like, man, hey, man, watch out for that dude, man. I said, man, I ain't worried about dude at all. So we was like, all right, whatever. So that was my introduction of Felix the Cat, aka Cal, right? So they end up calling us back in. We got our little hour out, whatever. So we get locked back up, right? So I'm talking to my cellie, and I forgot exactly what we was talking about, but the conversation came up. And I told him, like, hey, you ever heard of a guy named Felix the Cat? He was like, Felix the Cat? I said, yeah. He was like, yeah, I was locked up with a dude named Felix. I said, what did you hear about him? He was like, oh, the same thing that everybody else heard about him. He like guys. And I was like, well, he next door, right? He was like, get out of here. I said, he next door. When we was on the yard earlier, some dudes was like, yo, watch out for dude. That's Felix or whatever. So he was like, you know what? Come to think about it, that is him. That is him. Oh, snap, that is him. And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, that dude is the real deal, man. He, I heard a lot of things about him, man. And I was like, man, that's crazy. So it was about, let's see. Okay, they cut the lights out at 10. So it had to been maybe maybe 1 o'clock. Yeah, maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning when I heard it. And I know y'all like, Dante, what did you hear? Now, at this time, y'all, I was halfway woke, halfway sleep. Because in prison, you don't never supposed to just be out cold. You know what I'm talking about? Unless you in the cell by yourself, or you know for a fact that you and your cellie good. You know what I'm talking about? And I should make a video explaining to y'all, the do's and don'ts about prison. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and do it now, just in case if y'all missed this video or whatever. But anyway, one thing about prison, yeah, you can get a good cellie. Y'all can be celled up for years. Y'all can be brothers, right? And then one day he can just put that knife in you. You're like, huh? Yeah, you can be celled up with a man for a year, 2, 3 years, right? And for some reason, his mind could just snap. And he feel like just taking you up out of there, right? And it could be a million different reasons. It can be because he want to get transferred. He just having a bad day. Maybe you said something and he ain't forgot about it, or maybe he took something that you said the wrong way, and it could be a million reasons why. So, just one thing, always understand this. Never, ever trust your cellie. Never, ever trust anybody in prison for that matter, because at any given moment, anybody can snap and take you up out of there. But that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so I'm halfway asleep, halfway woke, and then I hear the noise. At first, it was like a low, like moaning noise or something. But it was like, I heard it. It was loud enough to wake me up out of my sleep. So I'm laying there and I'm like, am I tripping? And then I heard it again. And then I heard it again. And then I heard the guy say, man, shut up, shut up. So I'm like, what the So I sit up. Now I'm at the bottom rack, right? And my bunkie, he at the top. So I stand up and my bunkie is knocked out cold, right? And I like tap his shoulder. And he's like, what's up? I said, man, you hear that? He was like, what? Then we heard the noise again. Then he was like, man, what the I said, yeah. Man, I think dude over there, he was like, yeah, I think Felix over there doing it to the white guy over there. So my bunkie was like, man, what should we do? Should we, yell for help or something? I said, I don't know. Right? So I sat back on the bed and my bunkie jumped off the bed and he was like, man, that ain't right, man. That ain't cool. I said, man, I don't know what to do. Now, look, I know a lot of y'all, and I'm going to tell y'all what happened. I know a lot of y'all wondering, like, with Dante, why didn't y'all just yell for help? Why y'all didn't, bring attention to the guards or whatever? I'm going to tell you why. I always tell y'all, one of my favorite sayings to y'all is that I can't tell another man how to program. And that I can't. In prison, you must mind your own business. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, in this situation right there, Felix could have been victimizing the white dude. He could have. He could have been strong arming him and, doing the unthinkable to him against dude will. Or they could have agreed to do this, right? Maybe Felix was giving him food or whatever for exchange of that. It's many different reasons why this could be going on. Now, if I get up on these bars and I yell out, hey, dude over there violating dude, right? I just now marked myself as a snitch. And I know y'all wondering like, wait, but you was helping this guy. How do I know that? How do I not know that these two dudes is in a whole blown relationship? You know what I'm talking about? You wouldn't believe the things that goes on that you like, what the heck going on? It could be so many reasons why this going on. And if I get up on them bars and alert the authorities of what's going on, now my life can be potentially in harm. I could end up, after we leave this, facility, when we get transferred or whatever, I could run into this guy down the road, and he put a knife in my neck. You know what I'm saying? For me messing up what he got going on. So I'm going to tell you what I did. I told my bunkie, like, look, we ain't doing nothing. If that guy, if they in there doing what they doing, man, that's their business. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The next day, when they let us out for yard, dude was sitting between Felix's legs. And it didn't look like, I'm talking about, like it was a forced thing, like he wanted to be there. And it dawned on me like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't say anything. I'm glad I didn't say anything, because if I would have yelled for help for this dude, what if the guy say nothing happened? And it was loud enough for people to hear it. But I mean, it wasn't real super loud that the whole unit could hear it. But what if dude say nothing happened? Right? And now I'm arguing back and forth with a dep in Felix and him, right? But anyway, nevertheless, I see this unfold, and I'm like, man, prison, I can't be here. That was one of my moments. People ask me like, Dante, what was your moment where you felt like, I can't be here. I just can't be here no more? That was one of them. That was one of my moments where, I'm watching this dude sit in between this dude's legs like he's a female and that's his man or whatever. And I'm like, what? I mean, yeah, you see, certain things out here in the streets, when two guys, be holding hands or whatever, but you can escape that. You can get away from that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be around that if you don't want to. You can just get up and go, or you know what I'm talking about, get away from it. But in prison, nah, you ain't getting away from it. It's right there, put on full blast. And to be real with y'all, I honestly think that's a part of the system though. Yeah, I think that was engineered for men to be that way when they get locked up. I mean, just look at the whole dynamics of the thing. Just a whole bunch of men, locked up. It makes me think about the Bible, right? When you go back to Adam and Eve, and after Adam got done naming all the animals, he was sad, and God asked him, like, what's going on? Why you sad? And he said, well, everybody got a mate except for me. And so, God put him to sleep and took out his rib and made Eve, the woman. And the scriptures tell us that it's not good for man to be alone, right? So right there, that shows you in nature and the natural order of things that man's supposed to be with a woman. So when you got all these men, in one place, one concentrated place, and ain't no women, so they start turning on each other if their mind's not strong. They start turning on, one another in that type of way. They turn into Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's a strange, weird place, man. It is. But anyway, y'all, the point of me telling y'all this story is to spread awareness, man. It's a lot of dudes, young dudes, that's going to prison. Many young dudes is going to prison. I see a lot of these dudes, in my city that be walking around with choppers, walking around with extendos. Not the other day, but a couple months ago, I was at Walmart, and I was walking through the parking lot heading back to my car, and there was this young dude, maybe about 20, 21, right? He's driving, and there's this black guy, older black guy with his little daughter, whatever. And the young guy was in the car. He said, just give me a reason to slide. Give me a reason to slide, right? And to my understanding, what that meant was he just want to take this man's life for no reason, right? And then it dawned on me, like, dog, it was a lot of, and I had to ask God to forgive me for the thoughts that came to my head about this young man that said that, but it dawned on me like, yo, these cats ain't got nothing to live for. I don't know what's going on, what happened in this dude's life for him to have that type of mentality of give me a reason to slide. You know what I'm talking about? And it dawned on me, like, when I make these videos, I do appreciate everybody that hit the like button and comment on the videos, because that right there shows the algorithm, like, to keep pushing the videos to a broader audience. But one of the most things I really, really appreciate is when y'all actually share the video, like on Facebook, TikTok, whatever platforms y'all got, Instagram, because there might be somebody out there that might be thinking about committing a crime, right? There might be a situation that, you might find yourself in the heat of the moment. And in that heat of the moment, 10 seconds of you committing a crime or whatever, going to give you 15, 20, 25, 30 years of life without parole. Ain't that a trip? Like a 5-second decision can get you life without parole. That's crazy, right? So this is why I do it, y'all. I don't know how far this video gonna go, but I hope it go far enough where somebody can, hear this story and be like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna give that dude a pass. I'm gonna give that girl a pass. It ain't worth it. Or, maybe I shouldn't trip. Maybe, I know dude owe me $20, but you know what, man? He can keep it, man. He can keep it. I ain't tripping. Cause believe it or not, y'all, a lot of people are in prison for very small, minute things on a grand scale of all that time they get, right? But anyway, so tell y'all something right quick though. There's a woman by the name of Stacy Storytime that is telling some phenomenal stories, y'all. If y'all like my stories, y'all gonna love her stories. I'm gonna have her channel pinned at the top of my comment section, so y'all go over there and go check her out. And with that, y'all, this is the Donta Show Network. I'm gone.